Picture this, everywhere you look, people are chained to their screens, desperately scrolling for a hit of validation from strangers. Couples pose for endless selfies, groups gossip in hushed excitement, and lone wolves swipe as if their lives depend on it. But then, there's one man. He sits quietly, earbuds in, listening to a philosophy audiobook. No scrolling, no searching, no neediness. He's not lonely. He's not desperate. And that, my friend, makes him the most dangerous man in the room. What is it about a man who doesn't need anyone that unsettles the world? Why does self-sufficiency send shockwaves through a society built on constant approval-seeking? And why do we instinctively label such a man as weird, antisocial, or lonely? Here's a hard truth. Our entire system, social, economic, political, depends on your dependence. But when you become complete by yourself, you break the rules of the game. Welcome to Stoic Blend, where ancient wisdom meets modern life. Today, we're diving deep into why the man who doesn't need anyone is society's greatest threat, and how you can become one. The lie society tells about being alone. Our culture thrives on the belief that you are incomplete without others. Every ad, every dating app, every motivational slogan whispers the same thing. You need someone to be whole. But what if that's not true? What if the man sitting in silence at the coffee shop, content in his own company, represents something society finds dangerous? Society doesn't fear the man who can't be alone. It fears the man who doesn't need anyone. When philosophy becomes armor. Marcus Aurelius, ruler of the ancient world, had everything: power, influence, authority. Yet his evenings were spent in solitude, writing to himself, questioning everything. He once wrote, "All cruelty springs from weakness." His strength came from within, not from the approval of others. Nietzsche saw the same truth. The individual has always had to struggle not to be overwhelmed by the tribe. A man who thinks for himself is unpredictable, and unpredictability cannot be controlled. The psychology of the dangerous loner. Inside the mind of a man who doesn't need anyone, three things happen. 1. Freedom from approval addiction. While others chase likes and comments, he builds self-respect that isn't for sale. 2. Comfort with discomfort. Most people can't sit with their thoughts for 5 minutes. The dangerous man has wrestled with his fears, faced his insecurities, and emerged stronger. 3. Immunity to manipulation. If you don't need someone's validation, they can't control you through rejection or social pressure. The Marcus Aurelius method. Strength through solitude. Every night Marcus practiced the discipline of desire, asking what he wanted but didn't need, what he feared outside his control, and where he had sought approval at the expense of his values. This was not just journaling, it was training. Training to see through shallow games and empty status. When you know yourself deeply, the opinions of others lose their grip. You become dangerous because you are free. The Nietzsche principle. Creating your own values. Most people inherit their beliefs. They follow the crowd without question. But the man who spends time alone begins asking, why do I believe this? Who benefits from me believing this? What would I believe if I started from zero? When you create your own moral code, you stop being predictable. You stop being a good consumer, an easy vote, or a controllable cog. Loneliness versus solitude. Loneliness is a hunger, a belief that something is missing. Solitude is fullness, the ability to be whole on your own. Society blurs the two, because lonely people are compliant consumers. But those who embrace solitude think clearly. And thinking people are dangerous to systems that run on thoughtless compliance. The 4 pillars of dangerous solitude. 1. Radical self-honesty. Facing truth about yourself without sugarcoating. 2. Value independence. Living by your own reasoned principles, not borrowed morals. 3. Emotional self-sufficiency. Regulating your emotions without leaning on others. 4. Intellectual courage. Questioning even the most untouchable ideas. The price of independence. Choosing this path has a cost. People will misunderstand you, call you arrogant, label you antisocial. Some relationships will fade. Society will pressure you to conform, but the price of conformity? Your soul. Why society fears the self-sufficient man. Economic. You stop buying for approval. Social crew. You reject status games. Political. You can't be swayed by groupthink. Psychological. Your freedom reminds others of their chains. Becoming dangerous. The Stoic way. Start small. Spend 10 minutes alone without distractions. Practice evening reflection like Marcus. Question your beliefs like Nietzsche. Enjoy your own company. Read. Walk. Create. Stop seeking validation. Find your worth inside. The paradox of solitude. Ironically, the man who doesn't need anyone often attracts the most genuine relationships. When you choose to be with someone because you want to, not because you need to, the connection is purer, stronger, and more authentic. Become dangerous not in harming others, but in becoming impossible to control. Build your own values. Stand on your own. Be the man who doesn't need anyone. If this message resonated, share it with someone who's ready to hear the truth. Comment with one belief you've been carrying that you never chose for yourself. And remember, in a world desperate for conformity, the most radical act is to stand alone. Stay dangerous, my friends. Subscribe to Stoic Blend and join a community that values strength of mind, clarity of purpose, and the courage to live free.